Greetings, everyone. I'm Professor Wilkins, and this is the Dartless sleeve and puff sleeve half scale tutorial. I will first draft the Dartless sleeve pattern, then use the Dartless sleeve pattern to create the puff sleeves. The dartless sleeve does not have an elbow dart or tapers to the hemline like a basic sleeve. The dartless sleeve pattern is used to create flared and faux sleeves such as the bell bishop and puff sleeves. The puff sleeve has extra fullness. It has gathers at the cap and hem. Puff sleeves are usually held in place with a band. Tape a 3-inch high piece of paper at the bottom of the basic sleeve pattern. Cut the attachment piece from the second half scale pattern. Connect it to the bottom of the sleeve pattern and tape down. Label the front, the back, the bicep, elbow, and wrist. Label the front at the bicep A and the front at the wrist B. Measure from A to B. A to B is 8 inches. Square an 8-inch line down from A and label the bottom C. Label the back at bicep D. Square an 8-inch line from D and label the bottom E. Connect E to C. Use the bicep level to split the sleeve into 4 even parts. You can measure D to A and divide that measurement by 4, or you can use the tape measure to divide the biceps into 4 parts. Draw vertical lines to split the sleeve into 4 even parts. Use a highlighter, ruler, and French curve to highlight the dartless sleeve. Highlight all vertical lines. Highlight the wrist, the elbow. Draw in the center line and the bicep. Use the French curve to highlight the sleeve cap. Highlight the back, the top, and front notches. Trace the dartless sleeve onto an 8.5 by 14 piece of paper. Label the bicep and the elbow. One notch represents the front, 2 notches represents the back. Write dartless sleeve pattern at the top. Label the middle grain line. Ta-da! Measure 2.5 inches from the bottom of the paper. Square a line across. Cut and save the 2.5 inches strip for the puff sleeve band. Draw a straight line down the middle of the remaining paper. Tape down the dartless sleeve pattern. Align the paper center on the dartless sleeve grain line. Trace the back cap. Start at the bicep. Use the French curve to trace the cap. Add in the back notch. Draw a parallel line 1 inch down from the bicep. Draw in the side seam and the slash line. Measure the distance between the center line and the slash line. Divide by 2 and mark. Draw a vertical line to split the distance into 2 even parts. Number each section starting from the center. Flip the puff sleeve draft around. Trace the puff sleeve pattern outline onto the back side of the paper. Add the back notches. Refer back to the Dartless pattern. The Dartless sleeve front underarm needs to be transferred to the puff sleeve pattern. Flip the puff sleeve pattern to the back side, align on the Dartless sleeve front, and use the French curve to trace in the front underarm. This is the front underarm on the Dartless sleeve pattern. Transfer to the puff sleeve pattern. Flip the puff sleeve pattern around. The front underarm needs to be traced onto the main pattern. Use the French curve to trace in the front underarm. Cut out the pattern. Cut on the slash lines from the hem to the cap. Leave a little bit of a hinge to allow the pattern to pivot open. Fold an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper in half horizontally. Square a 1/2 inch line out from the fold. Place the top of the cap on the fold and pivot the hem to the end of the 1/2 inch mark. Tape down. Measure 1 inch out from the first section. Pivot the pattern. Tape down. Measure 1 inch out from the second section. Pivot and tape down. Use the French curve to connect the hem and the cap. Draw a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. Add in the back notches. Cut out the pattern. The front underarm needs to be transferred to the front of the pattern. Flip the pattern around. Use the French curve to trace in the front underarm. Close the pattern to transfer the front underarm to the front of the pattern. Use the French curve to trace in the front cap line and underarm. Trace in a 1/4 inch seam allowance at the side and at the hem. Use the French curve to connect the hemlines. Adjust the seam allowance so that it's exactly 1/4 inch at the underarm. Use the ruler to measure out 1/4 inch seam allowance. Open the pattern. Cut off the excess paper at the front underarm. Close the pattern and trace in the front notch. Open the pattern and draw in the grain line. Label puff sleeve, half scale, cut 2. Take the 2.5 inches high strip and fold horizontally. Draw a horizontal line in the fold. Measure 6 inches across, square a line down. Cut. Draw in your grain line. Label puff sleeve band, half scale, cut 2. Write fold line on the center fold. Introducing the puff sleeve. The puff sleeve band. Blank paper. Blank paper.